Hey parents, it is the 2023-2024 school year, and I am so thankful for you, and I'm thankful for the privilege it is to serve your students and to serve you. And I know the adults that volunteer would say the same thing. It is a privilege to get to know your students and to get to know you. We're looking forward to a good rest of the school year, and I wanted to make this video specifically for you as a reminder of some of the things that we're doing. I know that there's a lot of new students, so there's new families, there's new parents or guardians, and so this video is really kind of for you too. So I want to let you know who I am. My name is Nick. I serve as the associate pastor here at Shiloh, but specifically with the students and you guys. And so I've been here for over 3.5 years. I'm married to Marissa. We have a daughter. Her name is Amelia. At this time of the recording, she's 8 months old. And so we are having fun navigating parenthood. That's a little bit about who I am. If you want to know more, I'd be more than glad to share that with you. I came right to Shiloh right after school. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in youth ministry. I minored in biblical studies, but I was just a few classes away from having another bachelor's degree. But I also graduated from seminary at the same time, and I have a master's in local church ministry. And so I am so thankful to be here, and I am so glad to be serving you once again. Hey, just a few things for you to know. Most importantly, it comes to communication. There's multiple ways that I communicate. Email. Every month you'll receive a parent newsletter at the first week of the month. Typically, I try to do it the first couple days of the month, but it just depends. I have other responsibilities outside of student ministry. So look for that. The other thing is we do have a Facebook group for parents only. Check that out. You'll see an orange logo. It says Shiloh Student Ministries. It's a box logo. That's the right one. Join it. As well as we also have an Instagram account. That's more or less for our students. We may be adding a TikTok account this year and trying to get some students to lead that. But yeah, we have all sorts of social media accounts for you to follow. I also send you an email, but the other thing too is I text. I send all sorts of large group text messages from a number that's 22383, which is the church's number. When we send out mass texts, I send them not only to your students, but I also send them to you. So that is really, really important. The other thing too is if you want to share something with me about a win in your life or a win with discipling your students, please share that with me. But if you also have concerns, obviously you know to reach out to me, and I'd be more than glad to help you in that. So there's another PowerPoint that I had posted. It's actually called a Prezi. It can be found. I can send it to you if you are interested, where you can learn some more information. But most importantly, you just want to know who I am and some of the communication and some of the things you can expect from me. So some of those other expectations is discipling your student. I always make this disclaimer. I am not the main discipler. You are. Biblically, the parent is responsible for discipling their student, but I am a resource. I'm a supplement to what should be happening at home. We do get some students that don't come from a Christian home, and so we have to fill in the gaps for them. And so I know many of our students, they do come from that background, a Christian background. It's been raised in a household that went to church and has studied the Bible and things like that. And so it's really a supplement, but it also allows us, for those students that do not come from that, an ability to be spiritual parents, as you can say to them. So remember, we're a supplement, not a replacement for discipleship that's taking place at home. The other thing too is just out of pure transparency, as kids get closer, they grow closer to one another, and they grow closer to the people that are sacrificing their time to volunteer to serve them. Kids can share stuff like that. And so here's a promise to you. We never promise students confidentiality. We always promise confidential privacy. And that's a promise to you because we are legally bound to report if there's threats to harm themselves or to others, or if they're being abused, we have to report. Or if there's something that they share with us that's really serious, we are going to encourage them to share that with you. We'll always thank them for sharing that with us. We always say that up front, but we also, whenever they want to come to us and make something like that known to us, and one of the things is, for example, if they're partying, they're going to parties and stuff like that, and you don't know, and say a student approaches me, I'm going to tell them, hey, thank you for sharing that with me. Remember the confidential privacy policy, but depending on how the conversation goes and how the situation goes, I will always tell that student, you need to tell your parents. It's good to not let these things stay in the dark. And my encouragement would be would you like to set up a date or a time? I can come and support you in that and be there as you tell your parents. So I'm in your court. I'm for you in helping with that. But yeah, so back to the being a supplement to what's happening at home. I want to highlight a few things about our middle school ministry and our high school ministry. So MSM is middle school ministry. That's a youth group for middle school students. And then HSM is for high school. And it's high school ministry, but it's youth group for them. We do things a little different here in our student ministry specifically. We allow 8th graders to choose which ministry they can be a part of. They can be a part of both middle school and high school, or they can be a part of one or the other. As you know, middle school meets on Sunday nights from 5:30 to 7, and it's about bi-weekly, twice a month. And in high school, they meet every Wednesday except the second Wednesday of every month. And that's from 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Sometimes there's combined things. Maybe you've read Go and Gather events. Those are combined. Go is a service event. Gather is an event where it's all fun for the whole youth group to be combined. And in high school, they have a specific event called Grow, and that is small group-led youth group. But yeah, back to kind of the nuts and bolts, some of the things that we're teaching this year. Biblical teaching is the most important thing that we do here at Shiloh Student Ministries. So our first curriculum here is Stampede, and this is for our middle school students. The tagline here is running towards Jesus. I'm not saying that your kids smell like animals. Maybe you think so. Sometimes they kind of do. Sometimes they might act like animals and they run together in packs. Maybe they're doing something foolish. Maybe they're running towards getting help. The reason this curriculum is called Stampede is because middle school students, they do run together in packs. And it's very similar to animals in, let's say, Africa, where they stampede together. Typically, they're running away from something. And so what we want to do is we want to change the attitude from running away from God, but running towards Him. And so that's the premise of this curriculum, is to run towards God. And we want to do that as a student ministry. Some students will lead the pack. Some will be right in the middle of the pack, about average. And some, they'll be kind of on the outskirts, the stragglers. But we all want to be running towards Jesus. And so we want to help them in their walk, their journey with Christ. So that is the middle school curriculum. Our high school curriculum is called Vantage. It's about seeing our true selves through the lens of God's grace. We all have a foggy lens. That's because of sin. And we need to look at how God looks at us. And we have to look at that through the lens of grace. And that's what Jesus has done. And so we want our students to get a healthy vantage point. And our first series that we've been doing with our high school students is called Reference Point. We need something to look at, something to compare to, and that is Jesus Christ. So this year is all about perspective with our high school students. The way things are being communicated in the world, the way things are being done in this world, the vision's constantly changing. And if we don't have the right perspective, we can be off. So those are our two curriculums this year. Stampede for our middle school students, Vantage for our high school students. But some of the key themes in both curriculums, no matter if you're middle school or high school, we want to talk about our identity in Christ. There is an identity crisis here in our culture, in our world, and it's not just about gender stuff, it's about everything, who we are. So we're talking about our identity in Christ. That's the only thing that lasts. We're also talking about our purpose. Purpose is not just what we do, it's the way that we live. That's what I define as purpose. It's not what we do, but it's the way that we live. And our purpose is for God to glorify Him and to honor Him in the way that we live. So it doesn't matter if we're a teacher or a pastor or a plumber, or if we're going to go be an athlete, we can honor and glorify God in that. And that should be our lifestyle. It should be our attitude. And so we want to talk about our identity. We want to talk about purpose in Christ. We want to talk about what grace and mercy is. If you don't know what grace is receiving something we do not deserve. And mercy is not receiving something we do deserve, to be punished. We do not receive it. It's something we do deserve, but we don't receive it. And then we're also talking about some foundational things that we do as followers of Christ. What is communion? Why do we take communion? What is baptism? Why do we do baptism? Some of those key things that if you've been in the church world very long, it can kind of get confusing. So we want to help our students understand those things. We also want to talk about what it looks like to live in Christian community. Christian community is messy and can be hard, but it is so important. Biblically, we're commanded to not forsake it, as Paul puts it. So we need to understand how important Christian community is, but how we are to be a part of it. So those are some of the things that we're seeking to do first semester and into the second semester. And so we're really looking forward to what God's going to do this school year specifically. And so please know that I'm praying for you. I'm praying for your student or students. And I am really hoping to see some students give their life to Christ this year. Last year we had a couple. This year I'm hoping that students will get baptized. I'm also praying that students might step out and take a leadership role here in the student ministries. My goal is to work myself out of a job. The other thing too is we want to see students just get involved and just sharing the love of Christ with their friends and with their families. So just know I'm a partner, and I am so glad that you've taken the time to watch this video. God bless you, and if you have any questions, reach out.